transition lane. This tutorial demonstrates how to create a corridor with a transition lane. The tutorial uses some of the sub-assemblies that are shipped with Autodesk Civil 3D to create an assembly. Then, you create a roadway where the travel lane widths and slopes are controlled by offset alignments, profiles, polylines, and feature lines. Exercise 1, Creating an assembly with a transition lane. In this exercise, you will create a corridor assembly with transitions. Create an assembly baseline. Open Corridor 2a.dwg. Click Home tab, Create Design Panel Assembly drop-down, Create Assembly. In the Create Assembly dialog box, for name, enter Transition. Click OK. When the Specify Assembly Baseline Location prompt is displayed on the command line, click a point in the drawing to place the assembly. The viewport zooms to the assembly baseline, which looks like this. Add a lane subassembly. If the tool palette containing the subassemblies is not visible, click Home tab, Palettes panel, Tool Palettes. In the tool palette, right-click the tool palette's control bar. Click Civil Imperial Subassemblies. Click the Basic tab. Click Basic Lane Transition. In the Properties palette, under Advanced, specify the following parameters. Side, right. Default width, 14.0000. Depth, 1.0000. Transition, change offset and elevation. In the drawing, click the marker point on the assembly baseline. A lane is drawn, extending 14 feet to the right, with a slope of -2% and a depth of 1 foot. Add a curb and gutter subassembly. In the tool palette, click Basic Curb and Gutter. In the Properties palette, under Advanced, specify the following parameters. Side, right. Gutter width, 1.2500. In the drawing, click the marker point at the top right edge of the lane to draw the curb and gutter. Add a sidewalk subassembly. In the tool palette, click Basic Sidewalk. In the Properties palette, under Advanced, specify the following parameters. Side, right. Buffer width 1, 2.0000. Buffer width 2, 3.0000. In the drawing, click the marker point at the top backside of the curb to add the sidewalk and its buffer zones. Add a ditch subassembly. In the tool palette, click Basic Side Slope Cut Ditch. In the Properties palette, under Advanced, specify the following parameters. Side, right. Cut slope, 3.000:1. In the drawing, click the marker point at the outside edge of the outer sidewalk buffer zone to add the cut and fill slope. Add a transition lane subassembly. In the tool palette, click Basic Lane Transition. In the Properties palette, under Advanced, specify the following parameters. Side, left. Default width, 12.0000. Depth, 1.0000. Transition, hold grade, change offset. In the drawing, click the marker point on the assembly baseline. A lane is drawn, extending 12 feet to the left, with a slope of -2% and a depth of 1 foot. Mirror the subassemblies outside the right lane. Press ESC to exit subassembly placement mode. In the drawing, on the right-hand side of the assembly, select the curb, sidewalk, and daylight subassemblies. Right-click. Click Mirror. Click the marker point at the top left edge of the transition lane to draw a mirror of the curb, sidewalk, and daylight subassemblies. The subassemblies are displayed on the left side of the assembly marker. The mirror command creates a mirror image of the selected subassemblies. All the subassembly parameters, except for the side parameter, are retained. Note: the parameters of the mirrored subassemblies are not dynamically linked. If you change a parameter value for a subassembly on one side of the assembly baseline, the change will not be applied to the opposite side. The finished assembly looks like this. Exercise 2, creating a corridor with a transition lane. In this exercise, you will create a corridor using the assembly created in the last exercise. You will target the width and elevation of the right lane edge to a right alignment and profile, and the left lane edge to a polyline and a feature line. Specify the basic corridor information. Note: this exercise uses corridor 2a.dwg from the previous exercise, or you can open corridor 2b.dwg from the tutorial folder locations. Click Home tab, create Design Panel Corridor. In the Create Corridor dialog box, specify the following parameters: name, corridor, transition lanes, baseline type, alignment and profile, alignment, center line, profile, layout, assembly, transition. The transition assembly includes the basic lane transition subassembly, which uses the transition parameter to specify that both the offset and elevation can change on the right side of the corridor. The offset can change on the left side of the corridor, but the grade is held at -2%. Target surface, e.g. set baseline and region parameters, selected. Click OK. Specify the fixed lane horizontal target. In the baseline and region parameters dialog box, click Set All Targets. In the Target Mapping dialog box, in the Transition Alignment row for Basic Lane Transition, click the Object Name field. In the Set Width or Offset Target dialog box, specify the following parameters. Select Object Type to target, Alignments. Select Alignments, right. Click Add. Click OK. Specify the transition lane horizontal target. In the Transition Alignment row for Basic Lane Transition, click the Object Name field. In the Set Width or Offset Target dialog box, in the Select Object Type to Target list, select Feature Lines, Survey Figures, and Polylines. Click Select from Drawing. In the Drawing, on the left side of the alignment, select the blue polyline and magenta feature line. Press Enter. The entities are added to the table at the bottom of the Set Width or Offset Target dialog box. Click OK. Notice that because the subassembly names contain the assembly side, it is easy to determine which assembly must target which offset object. This naming convention is even more useful in road designs that contain many alignments and subassemblies. For information on updating the subassembly naming template, see the Modifying the Subassembly Name Template exercise. Specify the fixed lane elevation targets. In the Transition Profile row for Basic Lane Transition, click the Object Name field. In the Set Slope or Elevation Target dialog box, specify the following parameters. Select Object Type to target, Profiles. Select an alignment, right. Select Profiles, Layout. Click Add. Click OK. The right side edge of pavement elevation is set to the layout profile. The left side edge of pavement elevation does not need to be set since its elevation is determined by the grade setting. Click OK twice. The corridor model is built, and looks like this. Note: notice that at station 7+50, the lane uses the polyline as a target, and not the feature line. When more than one target object is found at a station, the object that is closest to the corridor baseline is used as the target. A detail of the overlapping objects.